Hello and good evening. We get to have a very special suicide wid video because I actually get to see one of my very favorite wids in person, not on Zoom from across the continent. My name's Mel, and I lost my person in November of 2019.
And my name is Kelly, and I lost my husband in August 2019.
And we've been together for a couple days. We've been widding hard. We've had a lot of really healing, I think, cathartic conversations. And I think because we've gotten to be together, we're feeling a little bit bold. And we are going to do a video about the topic we like talking the very least about to anybody who is not a widow in our group. So I hope you're on our side. I hope that you stick with us. This could be a little bit rough, but we are going to talk about dating.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So let's go ahead and kick off. I mean, if you were talking to any of your girlfriends, any of your guy friends that are single, what are some of the reasons that they might want to date?
I think, obviously companionship is a big one. We're social creatures. We don't want to be alone. We want to spend our time with other people. I think that's a big, basic one.
Yeah, I mean, I think is even as shallow as like to feel pretty. Want a good reason to put on my black eyeliner.
Eventually, a widow is going to think about what they want for their future.
So I think that that's, one of the strains that's common with everybody else. And a message we'd love to send across is, the reason a widow might date, people ask like, oh, would a widow date? And I was like, well, would your other single friends date? Would somebody date after a divorce? Would somebody date if they just haven't found a person that they want to, put their boots under their bed? Like they're going to be dating too. So very common, I think, motivation, but we kind of have that and a bit of other things going on for us.
And so Mel and I have actually dipped our toes back in the dating world, and I think one of the things that we wanted to talk about was why that was difficult for us, and why we decided to get started on that journey.
Yeah, I mean, for me, honestly, I did it for all of the human reasons that you would do it. But also I was giving myself meaningful anxiety. I just couldn't understand the enormity of having to go through the process of finding a partner again. And I was starting to think way too far in the future and kind of catastrophizing every angle. I was like, strategic, this. And honestly, I kept coming up with this point that I assumed nobody would want me because I was a widow. I felt like I have this like big red W on my chest or a big red trauma T, and just everybody would know and be like, no, we don't want anything to do with that hot mess over there. And I realized, and honestly, I just realized this today with you, Kelly, and this is why if you've had grief, go to a grief group because you need to talk to people to process things. But I realized another part of my trauma is that I met my person online, in OkCupid, where a lot of people meet these days. And I knew that I wouldn't find him again. And so I'd scroll and he wasn't going to be there. And so for me, it was an opportunity to face a fear. And I had to not care what other people would think and know how much I cared about him in order to be able to face that fear. And it was very cathartic, not fun, not great. Doesn't have a happy ending yet with a bow on it.
These are future videos.
What you said, and we dipped our toe in and then ran away cold back to the shore. But I have to say that it served the purpose that I needed it to serve, to understand that I was a person that could have a future with another person again, and understand that even though I'm sad I'm not going to find him again, I'm going to make it.
Yeah. You said about worrying that, you know, you had this big red W on your chest, and I can really relate to that. Going back into the dating world as a widow is it's scary and it's different because I kind of feel like, oh my gosh, does everyone see me as damaged goods? I I don't see myself that way. I think that I've learned a whole lot through this whole experience. I know about myself a whole lot more, but there is the worry about how are other people viewing me, not just on my profile, but people who find out that I'm dating. It's there's a hesitation to get back out there, I think. I know that I can feel guilty about pursuing my own happiness because it feels like I maybe should be more concerned about someone else, whether it was my partner's happiness or my child's happiness, but those would come before mine. And so I'm in a spot now where I want to pursue my happiness, but I'm also aware of, you know, what that might look like or seem like. And that's really not important. Actually, it's that I do pursue it and that I can still lead a happy life.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that is the growth that has to get done. And it's work. It's work. So, you know, I think when people understand, that would be probably the biggest message I would put out is if you see a widow dating and you're like, I have a question. They're just putting in the work and they're doing what they need to do. And, you know, I have to say, for those that aren't wids out there, honestly, it's kind of powerful to just not have an opinion about it. It's like a really beautiful thing when I come across people that have zero opinion about it. You know, I told a story earlier today, 1 month to the day after I lost my person, all the dating apps showed up on my social media. And I've never been so mad in an algorithm in all my life, you know. And I mean, even algorithms have an opinion, right? And so it's hard, and we're putting in the work, and we're putting in the work that we need to do to grow around this grief and grow around trauma. And it might not look like you think that it should, because there's no consensus about this. There's no even consensus among wids at all.
Yeah.
In our tiny group, some people are horrified at the thought of dating. And some people had to dive headlong into that. So be kind, have less of an opinion.
Yeah. I definitely appreciate our group for that, because we're part of a smaller suicide wid group and then part of a larger widows group. And there really is such a variety in such a difference in when people start dating. I mean, you've got people that are going in very bravely, I think, you know, a month after. And then there are people years out that are still like, I know that's not for me yet. And it's all good. We just have to respect that people need to be on their own timeline and not on anyone else's timeline. And that part's the hard part, where we are aware of expectations out there, that different people might have different expectations of us, and we can't function on anyone else's timeline. I know for me, when I got curious about the dating apps, it was really mainly that. It was like a curiosity of like wanting to know, what is this about, and can I do it? Like, do I have it in me to actually travel, to venture there? Because like I love travel, and I love going places on my own, and, you know, learning about culture and everything. And for me, like, this wasn't too different than that. Like, the whole dating app world wasn't there when I met my husband. Like, it wasn't out there yet, all of these different apps and online dating. And so for me, it was kind of like a travel where I had to prove to myself, like, can I do this? Can I navigate it and be okay? And I think, I mean, so far it's been quite the adventure, you know, and my person's not out there. Ideally, I would still be with my person, but you know, that's the thing, I think, with when remembering kindness to wids and not having too many expectations. It's like, our people died, and no matter what, we love our people, right? No matter what, we didn't die. We're still here, and we still want to live, and live fulfilling lives.
Yeah.
So here we are.
So here we are. And to you woods out there, whatever you think you might need to do, correct. So be kind to yourself. We'll see you next time.